Learn to crochet for the beginner. Today we learn single crochet. Welcome back to GoodKnit Kisses, where we stitch our love and love our stitches. I'm your host, Kristen, and I'm going to be showing you a series of beginner crochet videos. This series is going to be in my style, and I'm so happy to bring this to you, so stay tuned for all the videos that are coming. We will take you through all the basic stitches and steps and work as we go, from single to half double, double, and triple crochet, as well as the linen stitch and working your first granny square to a solid granny square and even a corner to corner blanket in this series. As always, I suggest that you watch the video through the first time before attempting to get the idea and all the tips along the way. Then grab your yarn and hook and pause as needed to crochet along with me. As the first video in our series, we're going to have extra tips for you packed in here. We'll talk about holding your hook, holding your yarn, what type of hook and yarn we're using, how to make a foundation chain, how to make your basic stitch of single crochet, and also how to fix mistakes. If you have a hole, how to go backwards easily, go all the way to the end, and even some tips at the end for saving your work and finishing it off. Let's begin. To start crocheting, of course, we need some yarn and a hook. Today I'm working with a medium number 4 weight yarn. This is a nice, smooth, simple, light colored yarn. You can use a gray or a brown or white. I would just keep it nice and light so you can see your stitches. We're going to need a hook, and I am working with a size I9 hook, or 5.5 millimeter, and that 5.5 millimeter is the measurement around the shaft part, and that's what makes your stitches the size that they are. Any hook will do. Just work with whatever you're comfortable with, and you will find that you may enjoy metal or wood or plastic. Right now I'm working with a metal hook. This is the hook part, and then this is, or the head, sometimes it's called a head, and this part underneath that is the throat, and that's what catches the yarn. So I may mention those parts here in the video, just so you know what I'm talking about. I'll lay my hook down for a moment, and we'll create a slip knot. Just make it however it's easy for you. I wind mine around my first finger here, put the back loop over the front, and then do it one more time up and over the tip of my finger to make a loop. I'm going to insert my hook in my loop and then pull on it with what's coming from the ball. That's just called the working yarn. So we're going to pull through that. Make sure it's nice and loose. You don't want it tight on there. And now we're going to hold our hook. You can hold it like a pencil, or you can hold it like a knife, or anywhere in between, whichever way is comfortable for you. For holding our yarn, I like to put it on my pinky. Some people wrap it around. I don't like to do that. It's too tight for me. So I just lay it over my pinky and then lace it around the next finger, and then go around the other direction for the next finger, and then go up and over my index finger. And that is what's comfortable for me. And then I'm going to grab it with I pinch it between these two fingers, my thumb and my finger, to hold the slip knot in place. And sometimes I use this finger here to keep it in place on this shaft, which makes sure that we have it all the right size stitches. And that's it. So now we're going to work on the foundation chain. We're going to chain as many chains as wide as we want for our project. I'm going to do 20 to get 20 stitches. For single crochet, you need to add 1. So I'm going to make 21 chains. This is how we start our chain. So we're going to take our hook and go towards my hand and go underneath this yarn here all the way around, and then make that throat pull on that yarn, and we're going to go down and face our little head downward, and it will go through this little teardrop shape here and through all the way, and we're going to pull it back to the shaft, and that makes 1 stitch. And when we do that, moving around and twisting our hands on the right here and twist this head, it pulls through really easily. And making sure to come back here to do the shaft part to make sure the measured stitch is the right size. So let's do that a few more times. We're going to go around, grab it and pull through, and go back to the shaft to make sure it's the right size. One more time, pull it through, and then you've made it 3 chains. And you can see those chains here, 1, 2, 3. The slip knot and the loop that's on the hook does not count. So I've got 3, and then I'm going to take my thumb and move it down here to get it closer to the hook so I can create some more. All right, we're going to keep going. Go ahead and do 21, and I will meet you back up at that point. Pause your video, and I'll see you soon. Once you make your chain, inspect it, look at it. If it looks nice and loose, you can see through it a little bit, and they all seem pretty consistent, you should just go ahead and move on. If it seems tight to you, or when we get to the next step and you can't put your hook through, then I would try doing it one more time. You could go up a couple of hook sizes, or at least one hook size at that point here, and then when you get to the point where we are here, then you would put in your main hook size back in, and then that way your chain will be just a little bit bigger than your hook size here, and you'll be able to work into it. Sometimes that beginning chain can be pretty tight. Okay, if you've made too many stitches, you can just pull your hook out, and then you just pull on your working yarn and pop out that stitch. Okay, and then just put in your hook, and then you have enough. If you need to count them, be sure and don't count what's on the hook, and count down. This will be the first stitch here, the first chain, and then this would be the next one and the next one. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the way down until you make sure you have enough. All right, let's begin our single crochet. So I'm going to wind it around my fingers. To begin single crochet, we're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So this first one here is this one, not what's on the hook, and then we're going to the second one. So remember how I said you have an extra stitch? This is the extra stitch that you're skipping. So we're going to go into the second one. I just go into one loop. This is on the foundation chain only. And then we're going to yarn over just as we've done before. Pull through that chain. So now you have 2 loops on your hook. And now we're going to yarn over again and pull through both of the loops all the way through. You have just made a single crochet. That single crochet is the one single time that you pulled it through that last time. Okay, that's why it's called a single. And we're going to move on to the next one. This one right here that's all stretched out, that's the one that the yarn just went through and made that stitch. So we're going to move down, we're going to follow that down, and we're going to go to this one. We're going to put our hook through there. We're going to yarn over and pull through that stitch, and then yarn over and pull through both loops. That's 2. We're going to go into the next one and do it again. Go through, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, so you're going to continue making single crochets all the way down to the end. I'll show you the last couple of them, and then we'll turn and move on to the next row. See you in a moment. All right, I've come down to the end, and I said I was going to have a couple of stitches left. I have 1 stitch left, but I want to show you how to back up. Say you look at your work and you think, oh, I think I have a hole somewhere back here. Well, you can take your hook out and put it through the stitch that you think you need to go back to, and then simply pull on that yarn and pop them out, and you can go all the way back to where you need to work. And then work it, make sure you pick up that stitch that you had a hole. Now I didn't have a hole in my work before, but that's just showing you how you can do it that easily. So I'm just going to continue working my single crochet to these last few stitches. Make sure it's not twisted. We're going to go into this stitch here, pull through. And I'm even holding it different than I showed you earlier. See, sometimes I just hold it different. Okay, so this is this last stitch here, okay? Right here. It's not the slip knot. We're just going that last stitch, pull through, okay, and pull through here. Okay, now we're at the end. I like to kind of make my slip knot, make sure it's on there nice and even. You can see all the tops of our stitches make this nice V stitch. like that, a little chain. And that's how you can count. You count all your chains. So these are together are pairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the top of your single crochet. It goes all the way to the end, and you should have created 20 of those little chains. Now on single crochet, when we go to the next line up and we want to single crochet on the next row, we yarn over and pull through, and we're going to chain 1. So this is our turning chain. Chain 1 is a turning chain on single crochet. You're going to turn your work this direction, keep holding on to it, and now we're going to work into this first stitch down here. The first stitch is when I come down to the single crochet down here into the stitch, and I go through these 2 stitches on the top. Okay, so we're going through both of them. Sometimes a direction will tell you to go through the front loop or go through the back loop, and that's how you would do that. But most of them want you to go through both of them, and it creates a nice even work, reversible on both sides. So we're just going to pull through just as we did before. So we have 2 on our hook, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2. And that is our first single crochet here. We're going to go through the next stitch and pull through and yarn over and pull through 2. And you're just going to continue working all the way down the line until you're at the end. And pause your video and meet me back up, and I'll show you what happens when you work several rows like this and how to darn in those ends. All right, see you in a moment. All right, we're on our last stitch here. All right, now if I was to stop this work and I wanted to continue on later, I can leave this loop here in place and go ahead and grab a stitch marker and slip it through, or like a safety pin. This is one that doesn't have this extra little part on it so it doesn't catch on the yarn. And then I would just clip it. I would just close it up and then have it for later. You can also use a paper clip to keep it in place. So I just want to throw that little tip in there for you if you haven't seen that before. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. I want to cut my yarn, about a 4 or 6 inch tail, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through completely. And that is how we fasten off. And I like to do is go ahead and wrap all this back in here with a tapestry needle. You can use your hook, but it's better to use a tapestry needle. So to darn in your ends, you're going to need a tapestry needle. This is a straight blunt end one. This one is also metal, just like that last one, but it has a curved or bent end on it, and it's also sharp, so you can get right up and under these stitches. And then here's a plastic needle with a kind of semi-sharp-ish tip on here, and this one you could probably see very well on camera. I'm actually going to use this one with this sharp edge on it, and I can get really up and into these stitches. So we're just going to thread that on through your tapestry needle. And I'm going to go into these stitches back here. I like to go up and around the back and really lock that in. Okay, there's a few different ways to do this. Sometimes you can actually split your yarn here and go in 2 different directions to really weave it in. I like to go through these stitches here, go through a few of them. Okay. And then I will go down a few rows. And one of the best things to do is also go back over some of these stitches and go backwards. So I'll come back this way and go through some of these stitches that I went through before, and it will lock it into place. And therefore, whenever you clip this and you put it in the wash, it's not going to come undone and fray, especially if you're giving this away as a gift. And what's also nice about one of these needles here is I can split the yarn. I can go in between the stitches here and really get it locked into place. And we'll make sure I'm not going through to the other side and showing it. And this is still still a stretchy fabric, and you're not seeing it through here. So you're just going to continue going around, and I'll go back up and over the last stitch I created and back through here. So this is in here pretty good. I don't think this is going to be going anywhere. And I'm going to pull out my needle and get my sharp scissors. And before I wash this, I'm actually going to cut it just a little longer so that when I wash it, it will actually work back in there and it won't pop out the other side. So, and if I give it a little bit of a tug, you'll see that it pops back into the stitch and you don't see it. So if you cut it too short, it might pop out somewhere else. And that is how you do that. I'll just work on the next one and you'll be done with your sample. I hope you enjoyed working on your single crochet stitch. Stay tuned for our next video featuring the half double crochet stitch. All right, be sure and subscribe down below and click that link for notifications so that you can get all the new videos as they come out for our crochet series. I hope you have a great day and happy crochet. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us today, where we help you stitch your love and love your stitches. See you again soon.